Right now here at 5:30, a massive turnout across Kentucky on Election Day next Tuesday is expected. That's the prediction from Kentucky Secretary of State Michael Adams, basing that on the 130,000 absentee ballots requested by Kentuckians by last week's deadline. And just hours ago, Adams also reporting more than 16,000 Kentuckians took advantage of in-person excused absentee voting last week. That's up by 114% compared to the same time in 2022. Well, get ready. Early in-person voting starts this week, so we asked Michael Adams to join us live here at 5:30.
And so, Secretary, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
We appreciate it. We know this is a very busy time for you. You're expecting one of the busiest election times on November 5th that we've ever seen in the state of Kentucky. But you're going to be joining the mayor tomorrow to talk about the elections. What are you planning on saying?
So I'm going to ask for two things.
Okay.
I'm going to ask that Kentuckians vote early if possible. We've got 4 days of voting. In our last presidential, we had 3 weeks of voting, and we had the highest turnout in our history. I think our turnout's going to be higher this time, but we need space for people to vote. If everyone shows up the last day because they procrastinate, we're going to have long lines and some hot tempers on Election Day. So I'm going to ask voters to vote early and also go to our website, sos.ky.gov, and see their sample ballot so they're prepared when they vote and know what's on the ballot.
So I hope I'm quoting you correctly. For the love of God, vote early.
Yes.
So you're not kidding, and you
not.
obviously were impressed by the early returns coming in on the absentee ballots. I guess obviously the presidential race drawing this, but Amendment 2 is starting to really light up a lot of interest around here.
Yeah, I think there are regions of the state where Amendment 2 is very popular or unpopular that will drive some turnout. We also have local option elections on medical marijuana that will drive some turnout. But I do think that the presidential race is going to draw most of the voters.
You actually went back and cleaned up the voter rolls. Talk about that, and how has that helped you get ready for the election?
Well, one way to increase voter turnout proportionately is to have clean voter rolls. And so part of the increase will just come from that. When you have a smaller denominator, then the numerator looks bigger, right? But we've taken over 400,000 voters off the rolls in 5 years. Those are people who had moved away or passed away or had been put away. Most of those people were dead, actually, deceased. And they had just been clogging up the rolls for years. It's important to establish confidence in the public. You show them our files are clean, this is a legitimate record. You need people to trust the elections or they won't vote.
Well, let's pick up on that. In June, you won the John F. Kennedy Jr. Profile and Courage Award. What struck me is what they wrote about you for giving that award, expanding voting rights and standing up for free and fair elections despite party opposition and death threats from election deniers. Everybody's concerned about what happens after Election Day. What are your concerns? What's running through your mind?
I feel pretty good about our state and where we are right now. The negativity has declined. Certainly the threats have declined. We have not seen any threats made to voting locations or to voters or to poll workers, and even the threats to me have really died down as well. I think it's going to be a smooth election. Obviously, we prepare for every contingency. We've been in extensive conversations with federal, state, and local law enforcement to make sure that every voter is kept safe.
We were just doing a story a few minutes ago about ballot boxes being set on fire in other parts of the country and also in Vancouver. We have those in Kentucky. Is there any concern about that?
Well, let me tell you this. I encourage voters to use a drop box if they're voting by absentee ballot because the county clerk checks them and picks them up every day versus them being mailed to some other state in many cases and then being returned back. If you're voting absentee, use the drop box. Number one, it's quicker. We get it quicker. We can count your vote. But number two, they're more secure than mailboxes. It's a lot easier to get into a mailbox and try to put acid on stuff or light something on fire than it is a drop box. These things are tanks. So very secure.
With 130,000 absentee ballots coming in, is early and absentee voting as secure as voting in person? A lot of people say, I'm just going to stick with going in person. How does that go when it comes to fraud, potential fraud?
So we have more protocols on our absentee voting than most states. We have ballot boxes that are under continuous surveillance, video and law enforcement surveillance. But to put this in perspective, only 2 to 4% of our votes get cast by absentee ballot. The vast majority of Kentuckians vote in person. That's the gold standard for voting as far as I'm concerned, but we do have reasonable protections for the absentee votes as well.
Other states are making sure they have law enforcement officers at the polling places. What has been your feedback from polling workers? Are they worried? Are they feeling good? Do they feel like everything's going to be fine on Election Day? What are their concerns?
We've heard no concerns from poll workers or from clerks. But one thing that's good about Kentucky is by law, the sheriff of every county is on the Board of Elections for every county. So that means you get the county clerk perspective for access and all that, but you also get the sheriff for law enforcement. There are some communities that feel safer if there's police at the polls. There are some communities that feel less safe if there's police in the polls. So we leave that to the locals to make those decisions.
So are you basically telling people pack your lunch if you're going to the polls on Tuesday in person? I mean, they might be really surprised by the lines.
So our office has actually been spending about $250,000 out of our own resources to encourage people to vote early. We've bought TV ads everywhere, billboards, you name it. I want to encourage people to use the early voting. It's going to be a better experience for them. It's going to be a better experience for the poll workers as well.
All right.
And we're going to pick up on that because I know that's a big initiative of yours, and to give people the locations here.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for coming in.
My pleasure.
We really appreciate it.